Okay, this is an example of what a conversation might look like when you are asking about someone's housing that they live in. Just like it says with signer A, that would be where you would use the contrastive structure. Typically, when you're answering the questions that include contrastive structure, you're probably not going to answer with that as well. So here is an example of what that conversation might look like. Hey guys, I'm going to teach a little bit about contrastive structure. What we're going to hopefully you saw the slides that were just on the video, and the slide that you just saw was about ask about housing, and it gives you a layout of how to have a conversation about housing. Well, I am going to show you how to sign those. So um, I'm going to sign something, and I want you to copy those things. Okay, so we're going to start out with this. Okay, so you copy that. Okay, now let's do this. Okay, now copy that. Good. Okay, now we're going to add some words to those head nods. So we're going to, this is when the contrast comes in. So good. So house, apartment, which. Okay, good job. Okay, we're going to add two signs. I'm going to ask about the age. Okay, so I'm going to sign it and then you copy me. Okay, so your contrast with this would be leaning to show one and old to show the other, which you can't do them both in the middle. You have to show that contrast. New, old, which. So you copy me. Good. All right, let's do, we didn't do size. We skipped right to age. So let's do size. So there's our contrast. We're leaning to the left, and then we're leaning to the right. Good job. Okay, so let's do a little more of a sentence, and then you copy me. Okay, so you see I asked, I'm in the middle, I'm just sitting normally. You live, and then I leaned in a house or an apartment, and then back to the middle, which. Don't forget those furrowed brows. You might not be able to see them as much with my glasses on. So you live house, apartment, which. Good job. Okay, so now let's do you live in large or small, which. Okay, so that contrast is the lean. So right now we're talking about two different options. Typically, when you're asking somebody a question, you're only going to give them two options, and if maybe their answer is more specific, then they will give you a more specific answer. But when you ask, you're normally just going to say things like, new or old when you're asking about age, large or small when you're asking about size, and when you're asking about the type of house that you live in, house or apartment. If they would like to be more specific and they say, I live in a loft, then they can tell you that after you ask the question. Let's say when you're answering the question, so I'll ask the question and then I'll tell you when I'm answering it. So your question. Let's do a new or old house. So this can show you, I'm going to ask, is your house new or old? And then I'm actually not going to answer with either of those. And I'm going to say kind of old. Okay. So so I said, your house new or old? Which? And I am going to answer kind of old. All right, hopefully you understand the contrast. Remember, you have to differentiate these signs by doing your leaning. Make sure that you always do the leaning and not just stick to the very middle when you're signing two different things. It's very important to avoid confusion. Bye, guys.